Hi guys, I'm back with Dave. It's me, Ellie. It wasn't meant to be a part one and a part two, but unfortunately, Riverside buggered up and there was some technical difficulties. So we lost you halfway through, and neither of us can remember where we got to. And we were in the flow, and it's so sad. But I remember I had asked Dave, what do we as parents need to do to arm ourselves with information to help protect our children? And that's around the area we was. So, Dave, if you're happy to come back and interject, that would be amazing.
My pleasure, Ellie. So I'm going to start from the beginning because I'm not sure when we got cut off, but
Amazing.
I will summarize it a little bit. When I talk to parents, first thing I do is to start with themselves and work out. So that means,
Yeah.
what are you doing that may be triggering or setting, not even triggering, but sending a message to your child that you don't necessarily want them to see without you explaining yourself? Are you grabbing a gummy at night before you go to bed because your legs hurt or your
Yeah.
back hurts? Are you coming home and having 3 or 4 glasses of wine, which I gotta say, I've I I'm I've committed, right? But
Yeah.
and that's okay if, for one, you're not overdoing it, but your child understands that you can do it, for one thing, and why you can do it and they cannot. And it's
Yeah.
not just because they are underage, it's because of their brain and how their emotions aren't developed. There's certain scientific things that your child can understand why you can do these things and they cannot. Older siblings, now we work out. Is your partner sending messages that maybe are being misconstrued by your child? A bit over drinking,
Yeah.
hanging out with the guys on Saturday, drinking and coming home, uh, after having too much to drink. And children, we're very sensitive growing up in an addictive household.
It's confusing. It's
It,
confusing
it's,
to them because I suppose if we're drinking in front of them and they don't
Mhm.
understand. We've been bringing them up with a culture of it's okay to drink. We get drunk once in a while at Christmas or etc. And then we're telling them, but no, you mustn't do it. But on your 21st birthday, you're gonna be absolutely fine, and then you can do it. It's
Right.
confusing for them.
It is very confusing, and we need to
It needs to be a
educate them.
conversation.
It
Yeah.
needs to be a conversation, and it can't be. A lot of people like to say have dinner together one night a week and talk about these things. It doesn't work like that
Yeah.
either. It's you
It
have to
doesn't.
be present, and I tell parents it's not about giving your child a present. It's being
Yeah.
present when they need something from you, and sometimes they just need to talk. But you can. It's funny, a flippant statement, you will have an impact on your child, without even knowing it sometimes. And
Yeah.
what you say matters, what you do matters, and don't think for a second your child doesn't know if if you're high or you're, and I'm not saying, when in my household, when my dad was high, it was violence and it was yelling and
Yeah.
aggressiveness. It doesn't have to be there for your child to know there's something's wrong in that household, that you're
Yeah.
not the same. And
They know you. They can pick up on the patterns.
they can pick up on the patterns. And I don't know about you, but as a child, there was not anybody in my life that I thought I liked them more when they were under the influence. And even
No,
now,
no.
when I have friends who are, if I'm not under the influence and if I'm just there, I don't want to be around people who are drinking too much or
Yeah.
getting high. It's not, I don't like it. And
Yeah. Me too.
we have this idea that life's okay if we're that way. Well, it's okay for us, but look at who
Hmm.
you're affecting with your behavior. And again, it's not to lay blame on anybody, but be very aware of how your behaviors affect your children and those around you.
Yeah.
And then the next thing is, you have to understand that, again, it's a very dangerous time to be doing drugs in this world. The most dangerous
Yeah.
time, because drugs are more prevalent, they're stronger, they're more addictive than they've ever been. They're more addictive today
Yeah.
than they were yesterday, and they're going to be more addictive tomorrow, excuse me, than they
And
are
much more
today.
accessible. much more
Much more.
accessible. I mean, I can message someone on here. We have a big pandemic of, I don't know if you have Telegram, but Telegram is like an app like WhatsApp, and people, it's like a unregulated app, and people just sell drugs on Telegram. You know,
Mhm,
it's so accessible. If I really wanted some drugs, I'm sure that I could get some within the next 20 minutes, and that's crazy because that
mhm,
wasn't readily available when I was a kid. There was no internet, there was no apps, there was none of
mhm.
this.
No, your kids. Every child in the U.S., in my country, every child is going to be introduced to an illegal drug, either through friends, family, or social media. And they are pounded by social media, sometimes 8, 10, 12 hours a day. So
Yeah.
they can get their information from a stranger. They can get their information from an influencer. They can get their information from a marketer. None of them have your child's best interests at heart like you do. None of them love
Yeah.
your child. None of them like
Yeah.
your child. Most of them won't know your child. Who do you want
Mhm.
them to be influenced by, them or you? And
Yeah.
and you can influence them by educating yourself, making it simple, and giving your child the facts about drugs. Let them know that you get addicted to drugs as a teenager, you're 7 times more likely to be addicted when you're an adult. And being
Yeah.
addicted as an adult, when you can't have, it affects your relationships, affects your ability to make money, it affects your education,
It affects your children
it affects your
and your
children.
future
Yes,
generations. Yeah.
right.
It
So
it's
you're preparing your child for adulthood when when you're talking to them today, and let them know and have faith that they will then make the right decisions. And then you need to know what's in your house. You just cannot tell your child you can't do this because it's bad for you and expect them to understand it right away. So you need to protect. You need to know
yeah.
what's in your house. You need to know who they're hanging out with. Need to know how they're doing at school. And this isn't something that can be fixed in a day. This isn't a magic. I don't have a
Yeah.
magic wand to give you. I don't have a magic pill. Um, but every day, even if it's a poor day, say you bring up the fact you didn't like their behavior in the morning, and there's an argument about it, but you talk about it. That day is better than not having that discussion at all. So every day you
Yeah.
can make a difference, and we have to do it. Again, it's there's a saying: permit when you can, protect when you must. We are at
Yeah.
the environment now is we need to protect our children at all costs because nobody else is doing it. Our government isn't doing it, legislation isn't doing
Mhm.
it. Certainly the big money industries that are making money off of addiction aren't doing it.
No,
It's up
because
to the parent.
they're gaining too much from it.
Hmm. Yes. And is this to say all drugs are awful and we shouldn't do any? And no, I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying there's a time and place for everything.
Yeah.
And for our young kids, the time and place isn't until you're in your 20s and able to look at the effects of addiction or abuse or just use. Even just using
Yeah.
will have an effect on your life. And if you're okay with that effect, okay. But at least you're able to make a rational, educated decision about your choice.
Yeah.
And we need to give kids that power. But the parents need that power. And that's what I try to do. Empower the parents with this. So everything I say, I'm really trying to say to the children. I'm just using the parent as a vehicle. Okay.
As a gateway. So,
Hmm.
I'm lucky. I had my children younger, and I could kind of, I don't know if it was a good thing or bad thing, educate them on these things. So what about where you are? If there's a mum and she's an older mum and she's not very clued up on drugs, is there somewhere she can go to gain this information? Is there a course she can take to teach her? Is there a book she can read? How can your average mum that doesn't know much about drugs learn for the sake of her child?
Well, a couple of years ago, I decided to write a book called Tip of the Spear. And the reason I did is because I've been in this business for 30 years. I grew up with addiction. And the biggest problem is we address the problem too late. We've allowed
Hmm.
addiction, we've allowed the use, it will go away, it turns into abuse. Now we're
Yeah.
not sure what to do.
And then
We
you
don't want to go to anybody for
lock the
help.
stable door off. You lock the stable
Right.
door after the house is bolted.
Right. And then abuse leads to addiction. And now what do? We're just too late.
Yeah.
And the
Too
court
late.
system court systems are too late. The parents don't know what to do. It's still parents feel guilty about what if they don't want to go outside for help. So I decided to write a book about prevention and early intervention. It's called Tip of the Spear.
Yeah.
And
Prevention's
some people,
better than cure. Yeah.
yeah, and so some people have read the book, and the book is divided up in two parts: how we got here, war on drugs, the
Hmm.
failure of war on drugs, big money, marketing, that kind of thing. And the second part is what do we do now? And it
Hmm.
has real life. It's like a manual for parents what to do in terms of should you search their room? If you should, why? And if you're going to do it, how do you prepare to do that? And how do you prepare for what you find? We get all the way up from that to mental health and the comorbidity of how mental health is so associated with drug addiction for
Yeah.
young people.
Definitely. Yeah.
They just go hand in hand. All the way up through if your child, if they keep using, they're going to end up in the court system at some point.
Hmm.
How do you handle that? What do you do? How do you get a lawyer? What does it mean if they're on probation or it's a misdemeanor or a felony? And who do they need a lawyer? Yes, they do need a lawyer. And in this country, you can't represent yourself if you're a child. So who pays for that lawyer? The parent is
Yeah.
obligated. So
Yeah.
I talk
And a
about
lot of them
everything.
can't. Yeah.
Right. I talk about everything.
So
So,
there is a manual. There is a manual for these things.
well, it is, but then we've taken it a step further and we've created asap.org, asapcommunity.org, asapcommunity.org. It's free for
Hmm.
parents to go. It's a community forum for parents. It's free. It includes workshops, work resources. It has strategies to use to keep your kids safe. It has monitoring, supervision tools to use. But most importantly, is it invites parents anonymously, or they can put their name down however they want to do it. We have different forums for them to talk to each other. So I have a
Yeah.
mom who has a 12-year-old who says, I just found weed in the room. What do I do? She can talk to the mom who's now deceased 24-year-old.
Yeah.
She found drugs in
Wow.
his room when he was 12. What did she
Yeah.
do? What did she do right? What did she do wrong? Who helped
Yeah.
her? So it's really trying to get parents to help parents. I'm not
So good.
again. I'm not. I don't want my parents to rely on anybody anymore. I don't want them to rely on the government. I don't want them to rely
Yeah.
on legislative policy, on politicians, on laws. I want them to rely on themselves, on their partner,
Yeah.
and on other parents to help the kids. That's the point of all
Mhm.
this. So those those two avenues, I would suggest a parent do. And again, this is hard, but we talk about teenage angst. Is my kid just
Mhm.
being a normal 14-year-old, or is it something else? And we talk about what to look for, right?
Mhm.
In terms of a number of things. I'll just give you a quick example. Hygiene is a big indicator. Um, and again, not to twist that sword into our what we've been doing thus far. If a parent would contact the school would say indicators of your child using drugs, and they put out a pamphlet: slurred
Mhm.
speech, bloodshot eyes. Well,
Uh,
eh,
that's
eh,
the
eh,
case.
and excuse my language, but no shit. Right?
Yeah.
That's obvious. How about
We already know all of that.
we already
That's an
know, but
obvious.
right, but how about the hidden? Does your child go up into their room and they're not alone? Yes, the child likes to be isolated and alone sometimes, but do they have anybody that they can talk to? Do they have any
Mhm.
peers? When they go up to the room, do they ever come out? What kind of mood do they come out in? Or hygiene is so big. If a lot of these children that, uh, when I'm called, that come in and the rooms are not just some laundry on the floor, not typical teenage, the bed's not made, but food on the floor. Darkened drapes are pulled. The child is not taking showers like they used to or bathing like they used to. The bedroom smells and it doesn't bother them. The child's using a lot of perfume or cologne.
Yeah.
Hygiene is a big indicator of something else going on, and it could be drug abuse. So there's certain things we can look for that are very subtle. Um, you know, and we talk about that with parents to be really, really aware. You know who your child is better than anybody. And if their
Yeah.
behavior is just not quite right, you have intuition. Mom's intuition
Yeah.
is the best. I tell them,
Yeah.
if you think your child's using, they probably are. And if you think
Yeah.
you know how much they're using, triple it.
You Yeah, you
Mm-hmm.
have no idea. Yeah, I
Mm-hmm.
completely agree.
Mm-hmm.
It's do you go into schools? Is it, this should be a mandatory training for parents. I know it shouldn't have to be, but it should, it needs to be. If we want to save the government money in the future, and it has a knock-on effect on families, on healthcare, on crime, on everything, if we want to beat the war on drugs, if we really want to, then this should be mandatory. This should be introduced as a school curriculum. You should be going into schools and talking to the parents. Is this a thing that can be done?
Yes, since the book's just out, and I'm in contact with schools and talking to parents, and again, I don't want to talk to the children. I want the parents to talk to the children. You know,
Yeah.
I'm not taking the responsibility of talking to their children. I want to talk to them, and now they have to go talk to don't have to. They need to now go talk to their children. And
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, we're starting. It's just starting now. Again, this is all very new. My book just came out. The website just came out, and that's what we're doing. But and the problem with all of this, Ellie, I think, is there's no money to be made on what I'm promoting. Everything in my book is free. It doesn't cost a dime. The
Okay.
parents just have to read it and engage with it. Um, and as you
Because it's your
know, in
passion. It's your lived experience.
right, right. But it's, if there was money to be made, I think we'd have more people doing it. If, as you know, there's a lot of money to be
Yeah.
made in treatment, and with what I am selling, there's not money to be made. It's just educating
Yeah.
the parent with very straightforward facts and showing them how to do the work, giving them the roadmap, and then they do the work. And it doesn't cost a penny. It just costs them their time. And, parents have to understand that what they say matters. It doesn't have to be a long period of time you spend with your child, but a little bit, just a
Yeah.
little bit every day, a connection. I often say,
And that time goes so fast. My children are in their 20s now. It's gone like that. And I would love to say I've been there every second of the way, and I have. I've been there physically every night. They haven't slept away from the house. I've been that proactive parent. But we have a lot of distractions. It's easy to say, I'll talk to them tomorrow. And then tonight I sit doom scrolling on my phone. And then
mm-hmm,
tomorrow I've got a bit of work to do. And sometimes tomorrow never comes. And I understand that because,
mm-hmm.
a lot of us have been, if you're a parent, sometimes tomorrow does never come. So it's hard.
It is hard, and it is hard. So don't set up that time. I'm going to talk to my child now. That's not the basis of a good conversation. The conversation is if your child walks, passes you in the hallway, give them a hug and say, "How you doing?" Right?
Yeah.
What's going on with you today? I have
Yeah.
a quick story that I was just talking with my daughter. She is 24. She's on her way to
Mhm.
med school. Very strong kid, very independent, has a great relationship um, with her partner. But she said the other day, we were in the store when she was probably 4 or 5, and she wanted to buy some pom poms to
Mm.
be a cheerleader for
Cheerleader.
school. Cheerleader. And I don't remember it, but she said, "You told me, no, you're not cheerleader. The boys are going to cheer for you. Let's go grab a soccer ball." So,
Yeah.
and not a big deal. We said it, but she said that when she was that young had such a profound
That
effect
it sticks.
on
It sticks
her.
in her mind.
It
Yeah.
stuck in her mind, and it helped create who she is, a strong,
Yeah.
independent woman. And so you
Yeah.
never you never know what you're going to say,
What's
if
gonna stick?
it's
Yeah.
going to stick. And
Yeah.
but you have to say these things. And again, it could be just quickly as they're going out to school, I love you, but whatever the message is that day, it doesn't have to be an in-depth, heartfelt conversation, but you got to say
Just
something.
make a start. I think as a parent of four, I completely concur, like completely wholeheartedly believe, I always say to when I meet new parents, and you know when my friends have kids, or even when I see people in the street, I say, you don't realize how fast it goes. And once you kind of sever that connection, I've got one daughter, and she's 9, and she's the youngest by far. The others are a lot older, and she's found it a bit funny lately to hold my hand. She's got to that age, and I said, listen,
Mm-hmm.
once you stop that connection, it's very hard to get it back. So let's work on, every day making that connection again, because when your kids, when you leave it a significant amount of time, it's very hard to get that connection back again. So don't think, oh, okay, I'll do it next week. Start little, but start today.
Start today. Do not. There's two sayings I want to throw out there. Is one, Johann Hari. He said the opposite of addiction is connection.
Yeah, I
100%.
know that one. Yeah,
100%. 100%
100%.
correct. The other thing, I don't know who said it, but the best time to plant a tree for which you could enjoy its shade was 20 years ago. The next best
Yeah,
time to plant it is today. And
yeah, it's true.
and you know what? That's a good conversation to start off with your kid. Hey, we haven't connected in 3 weeks. I'm not, or I don't feel like we've connected. We've done things. And just so you know, I still love you more than life itself.
Yeah.
Um,
I
just
think I
that.
think it's so
Just
it's so important, and it can be something that simple, but it's
mhm,
easier said than done. I know it's hard. We get busy, and you think, oh,
mhm.
tomorrow, but you must understand, as a parent of 4 children, sometimes tomorrow does never come. So, learn, I've got a great relationship with my kids, but I know how fast it goes. So please, guys, don't make that mistake. Today is the day, and even if it's something small, you don't have to do something elaborate. We don't have to go to the cinema, or just
Right,
something, anything.
right. Kids, just think about when we were kids. You didn't need that much. You know,
No, nothing.
it you didn't need that much. As for an adult, not just a parent, we could take responsibility for other people's kids as a society too, as a
Yeah,
community. Um,
I've always done. I'm always the house that takes in someone else's child.
hmm
So I
right.
complete. It's a duty. It takes a village. It
It
takes the whole
definitely
world
do-
to raise the children.
it definitely does. And a tap on the shoulder, a how you doing? Man, you look great today. Or I haven't
Yeah,
seen you. I missed you. Whatever it is.
yeah,
It's and you know, and again, we can do work on ourselves too about things that have happened. If we're not doing that, look into our past. Why aren't we doing
yeah,
that with our kids? If we know it's important, why aren't we doing it? What is going on? What
yeah. We
happened
need
in
to
our
work
child?
on ourselves.
Work on ourselves because
A-
everything
And
that
it's good.
happens to
It's a healthy thing to show the children working on ourselves, I think.
100%. And one quick story that made such an impact on my kids once I told them, and it's a poignant story. Um, but it my mom she passed away from cancer. She lived with us.
Yeah.
We brought a hospice worker in, and she told the hospice worker that well, she was always very. Let me back up. She helped us with our kids, with my girls.
Yeah.
Okay, raising our girls. She was very involved, but almost too involved. She was hovering over there. She was so protective,
Yeah.
and to don't trust that person. Do you know that person? She'd tell me, hey, she's playing with this girl. Do you know her parents? It was
Yeah. Yeah.
she was so paranoid, and um, literally she died in our house in her bed, and I was there with her, and I'm laying beside her. My wife is laying beside me. We're with her. It's very
Yeah.
comforting. She's
Yeah.
breathing, and you could tell she was going to pass any moment. But Ellie,
Yeah.
her last, literally her last dying words were, "Are the girls safe?"
Oh,
So, but I said, "Yes, they're good, Ma. It's
yeah.
okay. You can go." Um, but at the funeral, I found out from the hospice worker that my mom told her she was abused when she was a child.
I know. I knew you was gonna say this from I knew,
So
yeah.
I had no idea. She didn't talk
Yeah.
about it. She didn't want to deal with it or tell me about or burden me with it. But
Yeah.
what happened to her when she was 8, 9, 10 years old by a stranger who
Yeah.
I'll never meet, who's long gone, played
Just
a
shaped
role
your
in
life.
my kids' lives.
Yeah.
80
A
years
hundred
later,
percent.
80
Yeah.
years later, my
It,
kids are, that plays off in how they look at people. So I
yeah.
had to sit my kids down and tell them this and saying,
Yeah.
if you are, I don't mind you being careful, but if you are paranoid and you're worried and you have some anxiety, maybe that played a role in how you feel today. So let's
Yeah.
look at that. Let's deal with
Yeah. I
that.
get that.
And, so we are all interconnected. Everything
Mm.
matters. Everything
It's
happens
a ripple
matters.
effect. It's a ripple
Yes.
effect.
Yes. And the more we talk to our
I
kids, the
know
more
as
we,
soon as you said about your mum saying, other girls, do you know this? From my own experience, I just knew that woman, she knows.
yeah,
I knew that from
yeah,
what you was going to say. Yeah. Wise woman.
yeah. But it played a huge role. And my kids didn't
Yeah.
know why. They
Yeah.
just know don't trust anybody. But
Yeah.
we have,
That's sad. Yeah.
yeah, but we have to talk. We have to understand ourselves. We have to start with us. We have to try to figure out. I'm all for people going to a therapist and talking and trying to figure things out. The more we know, the more we try to understand, the better it is for everybody, not just us.
Knowledge is power. Yeah.
It's not a, it's, I don't look at somebody going to a counselor or therapy as a selfish act just to make
Yeah.
themselves better. It helps everybody in their life.
Yeah.
And so you're right. It takes a village. It takes us
Does.
all, Ellie.
Where can we find you? What platforms, I've kept you a while. What platforms can we find you on if we want to seek out your book? Where can we find your book on Amazon?
It's on Amazon. It's Walmart Books. It's at Barnes and Noble. Um, they can go to my website. I have a website on Facebook for my book, and they can contact me there.
How
I
do we find you on Facebook?
Facebook. It's Dave Kopney,
Yeah.
Kopeny, and the book is Tip of the Spear. And I talk to everybody, and
Yeah.
I don't have assistants or anything like that. If somebody writes me, I write them back. If somebody,
Yeah.
I give my phone number out to everybody. I always have. I don't mind talking to anybody that wants to talk, and or they can go to asapcommunity.org
Yeah.
and and join that and get a hold of me that way. And again, if anybody wants to talk, to reach out, uh, my phone is always, I'm always here. My door is always open. And
I think it's so important what you're doing, and the reason that you have so much passion and so much oomph for it is because you know how much of a detrimental effect it's had to your life. And I think that's where educating people comes from. It's the best place is when you have a personal vendetta against this thing, or you've got a personal interest, and that's why you're passionate, and that's why you're always available, because you can make that difference. And I think what you're doing is so needed, and I know in this country it's so needed, and I know there must be so needed, and not all parents know this. So I think your book is very, very important. So I thank you so much. I will share all of your links, and honestly, I wish I wish all of us could be armed with this knowledge. It would have made the world a much better place. But, you know, let's start today.
Let's start today, Ellie. I so much appreciate you giving me this chance to talk to your audience, but to talk to you, um, you sound great. I'd love to meet you in person. You and
Oh, I would too.
it was, I'd love to hear talk to you more about this. And if you anything comes up, any
Yeah.
topic comes up that you think should be dealt with, let me know,
Because
and we
do you know
will
what?
talk about it.
There's so many areas you can there's so many areas that I could discuss or ask or pick your brains, or there's just so much to discuss, and you can't pull it all into an hour. But it would have been fascinating to hear more about your story and my story, and let's do this again. Thank you so much, Dave.
Thank you, Ellie. And you have I guess, an evening over there. You have a great evening, and it was such a pleasure talking to you guys. Thank you.
Oh, honestly, I appreciate you. Thank you so much, Dave. Thank you. Bye.
Bye bye.